Please, I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello. Welcome to episode 87 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney. Good morning. Well, I am yet again, apparently this is just a new thing, crying. So if my nose sounds all stuffy or nasally, that is why. I'm crying because I am really struggling with my relationship with my youngest son, and I'm struggling with just trying to navigate no longer being able to be a parent necessarily. I mean, obviously, I'm still his mom and I'll always be his mother, but I'm not really on parent mode because he's an adult. So you have to flip that switch, and it's hard because he and I have always had a very, very strained relationship. Pretty much since birth, he has given me a lot of grief. He seems like he's been an angry kid since day one, and I have really been trying to get him to talk to somebody, to go to a counselor, or to go to a psychiatrist, or go get involved in activities like extracurricular activities, to be social, to meet people, or to write in a journal, or to exercise to be able to get out, some of this anger. And it's really difficult when your own child that you gave birth to, when you guys don't, when we don't see eye to eye, when we don't get along well, it's hard because they're your child. And obviously, of course, I love my son more than anything. I don't ever want anything to happen to him. I would die if something did. And he has a lot of amazing qualities that I admire and love about him. But he and I have just always had an incredibly strained relationship. And it's just caused a lot of gray hair and stress and lack of sleep. I am definitely staying up and not getting sleep. What's keeping me up is my strained relationship with my son. And to any parent out there that has more than one child, well, actually, regardless if you have one child or more than one, if you have a strained relationship with one of your children, it's really hard. And I'm sure it is just as hard for a father, but I feel like for a mom, it's a little bit different. I'm not going to say it's harder because I don't want to take away from fathers out there. I hate it when moms act like their relationship is more important than a father's relationship, because it's not. I just think it's different. And it's different because we carried them for 9 months. We gave birth to them. So we just have a little bit different bond, I guess. Again, I'm not trying to say it's better or it's more of a bond, because of course, not all moms are mothers. There are parents out there who should not be a mom. They have no motherly instincts. They don't care about their children. They don't love their children. There are parents out there who have even killed their own children. So I'm definitely not saying that moms are wonderful and great because they've given birth to them. I'm just saying, though, it is a different relationship than a father. And I'm not taking away from fathers, because their relationship with their children are just as important and just as deep, and they love their children just as much as mothers do. But It's hard because we do carry them. We're the ones that have them for 9 months, and we are the ones that go through sacrificing things so that we protect our child in our womb to make sure that they are healthy and safe. And then we give birth and we go through all of that pain. And so it really sucks when you go through all of that and you think that the human that you just gave birth to and you are going to just get along all the time and have a great, amazing relationship. And I'm not dumb. I'm aware that every human in the world is going to have times that they don't get along, and they're going to have times that they argue or don't see eye to eye. Spouses argue sometimes. Moms and daughters argue, and siblings argue, and friends argue because we're humans and we're not always going to get along. But this is different. He and I have always, we don't see eye to eye most of the time. And it sucks. It's really weighing on me. Plus, I see that he's struggling. I know that he's depressed, and I can't force him to go to a counselor when he's a grown adult. That's the part of being a parent that sucks, is that you no longer can wrap them in bubble tape and protect them. You have to allow them to make their own decisions. You have to hope and pray that whatever you did as a parent, they carry with them and they make decisions that are safe and healthy for them mentally and physically. And when they don't, as a parent, you step in and you're like, hey, this isn't healthy. Hey, this isn't safe. But ultimately, they're the ones that call the shots. You can only suggest things, you can give your opinion, and technically, I shouldn't even be giving an opinion because they didn't ask for help. If they don't ask for help, if they don't ask for my opinion, I shouldn't give it. But how do you sit back as a parent and not say anything when you see your child struggling? I want to swoop them up and protect them. But I know that you have to make mistakes in order to learn. You have to make mistakes so that later on you don't make the same mistakes again, so that you learn and you're like, oh, crap, I shouldn't have done that. But unfortunately, he's not learning all the time because unfortunately, I have always been the pooper scooper. I have never really allowed him to learn from his mistakes. I've always picked up the pieces. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. That's a whole other long story and background that goes into my past. So I know why I do the things I do, and I know that they're not healthy. I know they aren't what's best for him. I always think that me bailing out is what's best for him, but it's not. It's created a monster. It's created an entitled person who I know is capable of doing things because he's incredibly intelligent. But I've always done things, so now he expects them. He's entitled. And I don't know, and hasn't learned consequences. That is what America has turned out to, though. It's like all of the parents now believe in coddling so that kids never learn. And then they grow up living in a bubble and being sheltered. So then when real life hits them, they don't know how to handle it. They're like, oh my God, my boss expects me to be on time. And if I'm not on time, there are consequences. What? Wait, my boss expects me to actually work for the paycheck that they give me. And if I don't, there's consequences. What? Wait, if I play in a sport and another team kicks our butt, that means we came in second and we don't get a trophy because we didn't win. What? We don't get a participation award? Like, we should have never started the No Child Left Behind. We should have never started the participation awards because all it has done now is created a bunch of kids who don't understand real world and consequences or accountability or working hard. They don't know work ethic at all. They don't even know sportsmanship or pride. What happened to pride? I did a podcast about pride, so I won't go on and on about that again, but myself, I'm talking about with my oldest son, I didn't do this. No meant no, and he had to suffer consequences, and I made sure that he could only get his driver's license when he learned how to drive a stick shift. He had a curfew. There were consequences. And with my youngest, yes, he had curfew. And yes, I expected him to do things. But for whatever reason, I let him get away with a lot more. I don't know if that's a younger child thing. It seems like it is. It seems like a lot of parents do that. Again, there was a whole bunch of other stuff involved in my life that kind of made me feel like I needed to give my youngest more slack. I didn't need to, but I felt like I did. And I'm sure that my oldest son was like, "What the hell? This isn't fair. Why are you allowing him to get away with this crap when I didn't?" I don't know. No one tells you that when you have children, I feel like the hardest part is when they become an adult, and there's really not a damn thing you can do about their choices. And sometimes that's amazing because sometimes they make great choices and you're like, "Wow, nicely done. You did that on your own with no help." What a prideful day. Like, how amazing. You worked hard, and because you worked hard and you earned it, you got rewarded by getting a better job or by getting employee of the month or by getting a raise. Or if you go into a sport and you work your ass off and you get first place, way to go. You've earned it. You've put in the work, you've put in the time, you've put in the energy. Now no one wants to, it seems that nobody is really interested in putting in time or energy into anything. Everything is fast, 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 fast. Quick, quick, quick. I mean, God, look at technology. It's like there's a new iPhone out every other month. I mean, there's a new TV, with technology. It's like, God, your computer is considered old if it's a year old. Your phone's considered old if it's a year old. It's ridiculous. It's like we're never satisfied. We're never satisfied or living in the moment. Everything is what's next, what's next, what's next. Looking down at our phones, looking down at looking at the TV, not looking around, looking at like apps, like we're doing exercise bikes inside that have pictures of the outside. Okay, I get that if you live in the city and let's say there's not enough room to be riding a bike on the sidewalks because you're in like New York or LA where it's crowded with homeless people and just people in general and cars. So you don't really have a lot of room to walk and maybe you live in a city so you don't see nature. So you want to have an exercise bike and be looking at nature on a screen because you don't really have the option. I get those kinds of things. But there are people that have nature that they could walk out in and they choose to want to look at it through YouTube or something. I die when I'm not outside, and nature grounds me. Nature is the thing that brings me back to good. It calms me. It grounds me. I have to be outside in a field, feeling the grass, smelling the air, feeling the wind, feeling the sun or the rain. If it's snowing, okay, I have to be at least like outside for a little bit, taking in some fresh air. And I don't like snow, not a fan of the cold at all. But even when I can't stand the snow or the cold, I still find a moment to go outside and take it in because I don't do well when I'm not in nature. I don't do well when I can't feel the grass under my feet. I don't do well when I can't hear the birds and hear the crickets at night. I can't fathom. I used to live in cities. I've lived in cities my entire life. And it just was so chaotic. And I know not everybody has the option to live out in the country. I know that I am incredibly blessed to be able to live in the country. But those people that want to live in the city, that prefer the city, that have the option to live in the country, but live in the city, I know it's just a total difference of opinion. I'm not knocking people that love the city. My oldest son is a city boy. He loves the city. He loves having all of the busyness, all the hustle and bustle. He likes being able to have something easy, accessible, like in the middle of the night if he wants to. He likes to have all of the people and all the chaos around him. And that's great. There is nothing against that. To each his own. I get it. I, however, don't even like knickknacks around me, let alone a bunch of I can't handle a bunch of stuff going on around me. I don't like clutter. I don't like my house messy, because if there's clutter and my house is messy, it makes my brain cluttered. It makes me feel chaotic. I don't like it. It's not a control thing. It is when things are not organized around me, then I don't feel organized. I feel chaotic. I mean, I guess that's it. Maybe it is a control thing, but not control in a bad way. Like, I just can't handle, like, my aunt was a hoarder, and so was my grandma. And so because of that, my mom hated that, and she became incredibly, incredibly OCD, like Monica on Friends OCD. She would alphabetize her towels by color. So if she had a brown towel and a yellow towel, the brown towel would go first because it started with the B, and then the yellow towel. But my aunt and my grandma, like I said, they were hoarders. There was stuff from floor to ceiling, jam-packed in her house all over the place. There was just very little walkways. Like, the walkways were just kind of you could barely get through them. It's like there was enough stuff on both sides of the hallway that there was barely enough room to walk down the hallway. And I get that that's a disease. My kids' grandma on their dad's side is the same way. She's a hoarder. And I don't know if it's a generational thing, because they all kind of came from that era through the Depression, where they weren't sure if they were going to have food. And I'm sure they had to save everything because it was the Depression. They didn't know if, not everybody had a lot of food, and you saved everything so that you could reuse it, or try to use it to fix something else, or try to use it to make it into something, like upcycling, basically. And so you saved everything because you needed to be able to make something in the future or whatever. And you saved whatever you thought you could use again, because people don't have the money, or there weren't those things available. So they had to save it. So I get where the mentality comes from. I understand that hoarding is a psychological thing, just like me being OCD is a psychological thing. I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum. So it's funny, because they hoard for certain mental reasons, and I can't handle clutter. Like, people think I'm just being, oh, Courtney's just being neurotic and crazy because there's a dish in the sink. No, it genuinely, I look at a dish in the sink and I really, really try to go, it's okay. It's a dish in the sink. It's a sink. Sinks can have dishes. That's okay. And I will try to walk by and not put it in the dishwasher or wash it by hand. Or when there are things sitting on the counter, like if there's a can opener out. To me, things go in certain places. Can openers go in drawers, and dishes go either in the dishwasher or in the dish rack if you wash them, or they go away in the cupboards. Tools you don't leave out in the yard. You pick up after yourself and you put them away so that they don't get rusted or lost or stolen. I believe in putting things away where you got them so that they don't get lost or ruined. But also because I genuinely cannot relax my brain when things are disorganized. If things are disorganized, so if things aren't clean or put away, then my brain goes bananas. I can't relax if my house is not organized. Just like a hoarder has a hard time parting with things for their own reasons. But things seem anything but organized and put together lately. It seems like everything is chaotic, not just in my home life, but outside of just the world in general seems very disorganized and chaotic. And it's scary because we have Trump running for president while he may be in jail. We have the Biden administration clearly, very clearly doing everything they can to make damn sure that Trump is not reelected. And by doing so, they are taking away constitutional rights. They are ripping up the Constitution, ripping up what America wants or needs because of very clear corruption going on. Obviously, Biden is giving China blowjobs. Obviously, they are giving each other hand jobs. And obviously, China is blackmailing Biden. And yet they're trying everything they can to get Trump to make sure Trump stays out of office because they know damn sure that Trump knows what's going on and he won't put up with this crap and that there'll be accountability. But no one ever wants accountability. Accountability sucks. It does suck to be held responsible for your actions. Maybe then we should all spend more time not being shitty people. Maybe we shouldn't do crappy things. I mean, we're all humans. We're going to make mistakes. But when you make a mistake, that means we have consequences. It doesn't mean we're horrible, terrible, no good people. It doesn't mean we were intending to be assholes. It doesn't mean that everyone that makes a mistake means they're trying to be a jerk or anything. But accountability does suck. It sucks to have to apologize. I've never understood people that don't apologize, but boy, do they expect an apology. Or people that make all the excuses in the world for themselves, but give nobody else any grace whatsoever. They have all of these high expectations and standards for others, but seem to have none for themselves. It seems that their own morals and their own ethics don't match up to what they're expecting out of everybody else. They are the do as I say, not as I do kind of people. I apologize if I'm wrong. I've never had a problem with apologizing. I don't understand why people do. If you're wrong, you're wrong. It's no fucking big deal. So you were an asshole. Okay, at least you're apologizing. And as long as you're not continuing to do that exact same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting people to forgive you, then there's nothing wrong with making a mistake, apologizing, and trying to work on it so that you don't do it again. Now, I have a huge problem sometimes with telling people something like, say I take something wrong and I'll tell someone and they're like, that's not what I meant. And I'll go, you did mean that. That is what you meant. I have a really bad habit of telling people what they meant by something, even after they've told me and explained to me what they actually mean. So I have to work on that. That's something I have to work on. Now, is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. I've been a certain way for a very long time, but as long as I'm working on it and I'm trying and I'm doing less and less and less of that each time, then okay. But now if I just say I'm sorry, but I keep doing it and I'm not even trying to fix the problem, I'm not even making any effort, that's not okay. But this whole people not taking responsibility or not apologizing is odd to me and shitty, especially if you are expecting everybody else to be held accountable for their actions. Everybody seems to be do as I say, not as I do. Look at the Democrats. They're sitting here mad because because Fox had said something about Biden being like a dictator. Do you know how much they've been saying about Trump? They've been calling Trump a fucking racist. They've been calling him, saying that he is friends with Putin and helping. There's collusion with Putin. They have been accusing him and saying horrible. They've been talking about killing him, about taking him out, about bombing the White House. They have been threatening him. Right now, they are currently going at him like a freaking rabid animal, attacking that man. And the Democrats get pissed because Fox News said that Biden is behaving like a dictator. He is behaving like a dictator. He is being a dictator. He's being the actual literal definition of a dictator. Who the fuck cares if someone says that? Who cares? They're allowed to say Biden's a fucking asshole. We think Biden's a piece of shit president. We think Biden's doing the worst job ever. We're allowed to say that. I can say, fuck yourself, Joe Biden. I think you're a piece of shit. I'm allowed to have that opinion. I'm allowed to voice that opinion. I'm not allowed to go and punch the president. I'm not allowed to shoot the president. I'm not allowed to make death threats. But let me tell you, that happens to Trump. So many celebrities are making death threats against Trump. Kathy What's-Her-Face did the whole thing where it looked like she beheaded Trump and there was a bloody head. Madonna threatened to bomb the White House. All of the Democrats told us what pieces of shit and horrible people we were because we weren't taking the vaccination, and that we were that we were terrorists. We were terrorists, saying that people that weren't taking a vaccination, were terrorists, and that we're these horrible people. They're actively trying to put Trump in prison for the things that they're doing. All of the stuff they're accusing Trump of doing, the Biden administration is actually doing. They've accused Trump of everything under the sun, and they have tried and tried and tried and tried to prove that he's done the things that they've accused him of, and they have yet to come up with a single teeny tiny shred of evidence of any of the things that they have accused him of. Yet someone says that Biden is behaving like a dictator and they're all up in arms. Are you fucking kidding me right now? He is a dictator. Actually, again, it's not Biden that's a dictator because he is not the one running the show. He is not the one calling the shots. And I wish people would stop saying that he is, because he's not. He may have the name, the title as president of the United States. He may have that title, but he is not the one actually running this country. We all know that. The man can't even dress himself. The man can't walk without falling. And you think that he's actually running this country? No. There are other people pulling the strings. We all know that. This is not a new thing. We all know 100% that Biden does not have the mental capacity to form a sentence. Quite literally, we've all seen it. He cannot form sentences, let alone make any kind of decision on anything. So he certainly is not the one running the country. Now, who is? Who is running America right now? It's not Kamala. It's not her either. Kamala and Joe are just little patsies. They're little pawns to this big game that the government has decided. It's like the Truman Show. It's like we are just in this lab. I just lost my train of thought. It's like they're a bunch of scientists that are doing this experiment. That's what I'm trying to say. This experiment, and they're trying to fuck with us to see what we do, to see how we handle it. And we're failing miserably. January 6th, by the way, we should be allowed to storm the Capitol when our government becomes tyrannical. We should be able, in fact, we are able to take over once our government has stopped working for the people. And I tell you, if if Tina Kotex, our new governor, thinks if she tries to pull a Kate Brown and starts mandating masks and shutdowns and vaccinations, oh boy. Like I said, I didn't get the vaccination or wear the mask when we were supposed to back in 2020 and 21. So I'm certainly not doing it now. I'm not going to do it now. If it means I go to jail, great. I guess I'll go to jail, but I am not putting on a mask. And we are not going to shut down. And I would love to see how many businesses, and there's going to be people, there will be businesses, especially in Portland and Eugene and all the woke places. I'm sure they'll comply. But I will guarantee you far less. There will be some that will comply, yes, but there'll be far, far less businesses and people that are going to comply this time. Even Democrats. I think even some Democrats are going to be like, go fuck yourself. I don't think so. I'm not putting on another mask. I'm not shutting my business down again. I'm not going through all this crap again. Go fuck yourself. And we have a right to say that. We have a right to say no. What is the government going to do if all of us say, go fuck yourself? Hell no. What are they going to do? Put every single one of us in jail? If we all take over, that's not going to happen. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. And I love how all the court dates and stuff for Trump just happen to be right at the election time. They've just purposely, they are, what's the word? They are preventing, what's the word? I'm tired. I'm so tired, you guys. I've honestly have been getting up way earlier on my days off than I have on the days I work. I've had an extraordinarily busy week. I haven't slept. I haven't relaxed. My brain has shut down, but they are interfering with an election. The Democrats are very, very, very much interfering with election, which I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Maybe it's not, but it should be. And how funny will it be? How embarrassing and how funny and how amazing will it be if Trump still wins after all of the shit the Democrats have done? After all of this, if America's like, you know what, we'd much rather have Trump than your fucking piece of shit administration. We would, if Trump still won even after all this crap, I would laugh so hard. How embarrassing for the Democrats. Oh my God, how embarrassing for them. Now, to be honest, would probably rather have DeSantis. I think I'd much rather have DeSantis or even Vivek. Maybe have DeSantis as president and maybe Vivek as vice president. Although I love what Donald Trump did to our country, and I do like Donald Trump a lot. The only reason why I don't necessarily want Trump and Biden to run together is there are still so many people that can't stand Trump and won't vote for Trump. I mean, will vote for Biden just because they don't like Trump, which is a bunch of shit. Like I've said again in my other podcasts, you don't vote for a woman just because she's a woman. You don't vote for Biden just because you hate Trump. That's fucking stupid. If Biden is 4,000 years old and cannot form sentences and has dementia, you don't vote for him. Whether you like Trump or not, you don't vote for a person with dementia. Come on. How stupid do you have to be to vote for a man that has dementia? Do you want a man that has dementia running our country? Yeah, there are people that do because they need Darwin to come and take care of business. I don't understand this mentality of I'm not voting for Trump because I hate him. It doesn't matter. You're not going to go have dinner with him. You're not going to have a beer with him. I got tired of people saying they loved Obama because they thought he was cool. He's cool, man. I could see like hanging out with him. I don't want to hang out with my president. I want my president to be a capable person that can actually run our country. We need someone running our country that other that leaders of other countries are actually fearful of and actually respect, that won't fuck with us because they're worried about us kicking their ass or because they just respect us enough not to fuck with us. Now we are sitting ducks. We're targets. We're targets for every other country because we're looked at as weak. We look like weak little pansies over here. But again, there are people out there that are still on the Biden train just because they don't like Trump. It has nothing to do with them thinking that Biden does a good job. It's because they don't like Trump. And that is ridiculous. How dare you run our country into the ground because of your fucking pride? Because you can't admit that your president has dementia and is incapable. So you should vote for someone else, whether you want to sleep with him or have a beer with him or think he's cute and sexy. It's not a fucking pageant. It's not a popularity contest. It is a who is capable, who is mentally capable and fit to run our country. This isn't just I'm going to have someone, watch my dog for a day. This is running our goddamn country. This is someone that has access to nuclear weapons. There's just no accountability for politicians. There's no accountability for people on social media saying the shit they do. People know that if they bully and harass someone, nothing's going to happen. Losing control is a hard thing. Giving up control is a hard thing. Giving up control as a parent and knowing that you have to trust that your son or daughter is going to make decisions and kind of sit back and go, okay, I just have to cross my fingers. That is giving up control is hard. Giving up control of your country is ridiculous. If we give up control, but we put it in the hands of someone that we know is capable and we trust, and we voted for them because we trust that they will do the right thing, that's a little different. But people are just allowing everyone to walk all over each other, and they're allowing people to call the shots that shouldn't. Like there's a bunch of people that don't work and don't pay taxes and mooch off the government, and they somehow have a say over what happens in this country. Not me that's actually going to work, not me that it actually affects. Bullshit. I say if you don't work, don't fucking vote then. Because nothing that happens really affects you. You're just getting a free fucking ride. Well, I guess that wouldn't work because there are parents out there that stay home with their kids and they don't work because they stay home with their kids, and there's vets that don't work and there's retired people. But it's just infuriating to me that people get to make decisions for somebody else's life. You don't get to speak for me. This world's getting out of control and it's scary. There's no accountability, and we need to get back to that. We need to get back to hard work. We need to get back to having respect for ourselves and pride for ourselves and pride for our country. And if we don't have respect and pride in ourselves, we aren't going to have respect and pride for anybody else. At the end of the day, we need to take accountability for our own actions. We need to have some respect and pride in ourselves, and we need to have some grace. Because God knows we have all fucked up before. God knows we have all had a moment of, wow, I just behaved really poorly. And that is okay if we do it, as long as, again, we try our best to do better and not do it next time, as long as we have that accountability and as long as we give others some grace. So those are some things that have been keeping me up. Those are some things on my mind. God, there's been a lot of cars coming. Dude, oh my God, this guy is hauling ass. Jesus Christ. It's a pest control. He's like, I've got to go get there's some pests. There are some ants and some roaches I got to get to. He is like hauling ass. That is ridiculous. Anyway. All right. And end rant. All right. So, to those of you out there that are struggling with giving up control, I get it. I totally get it. I have a tattoo on my arm, on my wrist that says let go, not let it go like Frozen. I got it way, way, way before Frozen came out. And it doesn't say let it go. It says let go. And that was for me. I purposely put it on my wrist so I could remember to take a breath and remember to control what I can. I have to let go of the things I cannot control. I just have to let them go. And that is very hard for me. So I had to tattoo let go on my wrist so that I could remind myself to let go of the things I can't control. So just a reminder for everybody, if you cannot control it, if you have no control, let it go and focus on the things that you can control. Thank you again so much for listening to the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I hope you have yourself a fabulous, fabulous week.